This is the third part I'm, doing today. I needed a smoke. So, thank you guys for 9,000 subscribers. This is part 3 of the Q&A. So let's get right back into it. Joe Lewis has asked me, and this is not the boxer, obviously. Joe Lewis asked me, Thin Lizzy discography review. Maybe someday. I really never have talked about Thin Lizzy on this channel at all. So, that might be something that I have to consider. I think I do have, like, Jailbreak and a couple of other Thin Lizzy classics on vinyl. However, I really haven't talked with them much on this channel. Tyler Charbonneau, I hope I didn't destroy that. I probably did. What are your 5 favorite Led Zeppelin albums in order? I apparently cannot talk. I probably couldn't do it in order because I'm going off of the top of my head. However, Houses of the Holy is definitely on that list. Presence is on that list, surprisingly enough. Led Zeppelin 4, of course. Led Zeppelin 2. And also the very first album, Led Zeppelin. It's just a tremendous, tremendous work. If I were to maybe put that in order, I would probably put, I'd probably have to be cliche and put 4 first, and then go with Houses of the Holy, Led Zeppelin 1, and then Presence, and then Led Zeppelin 2. I really have to rethink that to give you a bona fide list. Led Zeppelin might be a band that we talk about later in a full discography review, either that or at least a band review, because they're kind of classic. I mean, the fact that I have not talked about them is kind of a crime. Super Renegade Outlaw. Where do you see most of the metal bands from this period at 5 to 10 years, and where do you see yourself in the nation in another 5 to 10 years? I'll address the second question first. I hope to still be doing this in 5 to 10 years. I hope that YouTube is able to stay strong, considering everything online seems to, switch itself out every couple of years. So I hope YouTube is still, the proper pecking order for videos. And I think it will be, considering of the, the prominent handshaking that's gone on over the past couple of years with Google and other websites in order to kind of give it that #1 distinction. So I really hope to still be here talking with you guys. Hopefully, maybe in 10 years, we're going to be doing, 50,000 subscribers or something like that. I don't know. As far as the bands that we're talking about in 5 to 10 years, that's actually the fun part of this job. The fun part is seeing kind of where they go, to see how their careers kind of take off, whether they flounder, whether they break up, whether they stay together. Whether some of the bands that I bashed in the past couple of years return to make fantastic albums, or some of the bands that I thought have had fantastic releases if they drop the ball or something like that. Standards are sometimes set with some of these reviews, so sometimes you can use what you've already done in order to kind of build a makeshift history, so to speak. Like, I think on this channel I've done either 2 or 3 albums from Eson, either that or between this channel and the Cover Killer channel back before it got shut down. So that's almost his entire discography right now. The band Pilgrim, I really didn't give that great of a review to their first album. I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe the second album, whenever that comes out, that might be amazing. That's the best part of the job, is kind of seeing how everybody evolves a little bit. Patter69, favorite Judas Priest album and song. Man, it's a tie, actually, between Painkiller and Screaming for Vengeance. I know it's typical, but they're just so goddamn good. As far as songs are concerned, it's really difficult to choose just one. One Shot of Glory is great. Between the Hammer and the Anvil is another good one. Screaming for Vengeance. There's just a ton of great songs in the Judas Priest discography, and I'm just naming ones, principally off the 2 that I just named as my favorite albums. So I would probably, I'm going to limit it just to Screaming for Vengeance and Painkiller, and I'm going to probably have to go with One Shot at Glory. That was the song that really changed my life a lot whenever it came to Judas Priest, because Painkiller is my first disc. The first half of the album, and really the whole entire album, is a stone cold bona fide classic, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, that song was just rip-roaring through the riffs and everything like that. It was just a fantastic, fantastic work. So let's get to Jose G 1013. I probably destroyed that. What are your top 10 rappers? I would have to sit down and think about that and give you a bona fide list in a video, and that's exactly what I'm going to do sometime this year, because I do want to talk a little bit about rap, considering it did used to play a role in my life whenever I was an early music fan, and it does still a little bit to this day. So expect some surprises, expect some things that are a little bit obvious, cliche, but expect some surprises also. Brody Winter, what is your favorite Tool song and album, and will you do a Tool discography? Well, Brody, my favorite Tool song probably is the 10,000 Days Cycle. Those two songs are just, they blow me away. I really love those songs a whole hell of a lot. As far as the favorite album, probably Anima. And will I ever do a full Tool discography? I had done one whenever I was just cover killer, or at least I had gotten started with one, and I don't think I ever completed it. I think I left out Lateralis. However, on this channel, who knows? Because they have a new album coming out, not this year, which sucks, but at the same time, Music Madness is also just a couple days away. Harry Smith. If you could comprise a supergroup with any living or dead artist, what would the artist be, and what genre of music would they play? 2 guitarists, 1 bassist, 1 vocalist, 1 drummer, and 2 miscellaneous. Jesus Christ. I think for guitar players, I would have to go with Chuck from Death, and probably, oh jeez, probably John Petrucci. I think that'd be really interesting to see how those two were able to really combine things. As far as the bassist is concerned, I'm going to have to go with Cliff Burton, because Cliff was just a hell of a bassist, and I think he would actually, you know, go pretty well with that duo of Shredmeisters right there. As far as vocalists were concerned, probably Mike from Opeth, either that or maybe, oh geez, considering this band is kind of leaning a little bit more towards the thrashier side as opposed to a little bit more of the progressive side. I don't even want to say it, but maybe even Dave Mustaine. Drummers, I would have to go with either Hellhammer, you know, it's one of those classic drummers, because they're just beasts. And as far as miscellaneous people, definitely Jordan Rudess. I think Jordan has a lot to offer on the keys. And for anything else that's various, oh man, I kind of just want Icedale from Enslaved to just hop around, you know. He's a fantastic guitar player, don't get me wrong, but he's just got this stage presence. That's what it kind of is, you know. I want Icedale to play something interesting, like an upright bass or like a lute. It'd be great. VG Master 9, what are your top 10 electronic music artists? I'm not going to do a top 10 list. I'm going to tell you that right now. All these top 10 lists are driving me bananas. But I really like Daft Punk, but one of my favorites of all time is Scooter. If you don't know who Scooter is, look him up. He's got a little bit of this happy hardcore trance style going on, which is really awesome. And he's German, so you got to love that. A7X Wee Man. Number 1, what do you think that the new metal trend will be? Example, Gent. Oh boy, well, a lot of people are seeming to think that vest metal is going to catch on, which I don't even fucking know what that is, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had a new prog revolution, especially prog rock, mainly because it's something that's already kind of in the works a little bit, but whenever it comes to extreme metal, oh man, that's a really hard call. It's almost like predicting the future, man, and I definitely see a lot of revisitation to some doom and stoner stuff. I mean, there's some stuff that's kind of taking off. Bands like High on Fire are doing really, really well right now, and even though you wouldn't completely consider them a part of the stoner genre, I kind of do. So don't be surprised if there's a lot of bands out there that start to experience a little bit of success, blending a little bit of that in there. Music Man Freak, what's your opinion on symphonic metal? Do you like bands like Within Temptation, Stream of Passion, Delan, or Epica? They're not bad. I kind of, wear out the symphonic element very, very quickly whenever I listen to stuff like that. It's a nice touch, but it's not something I can listen to on a consistent basis, through the course of days, weeks, months, years, whatever. Over my metal history, I've kind of found genres that I love and probably could listen to a fair amount during those time frames, but I need a little bit of diversity even throughout the day just to kind of keep me going, because I know that there's such a wealth out there. I can't just pigeonhole myself into one genre. Bradley Lane asks, what is your favorite discography? May not be your favorite band, but they have the most solid discography. Well, it's right there in your name, Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains' discography is phenomenal. Some people don't like the Tripod album, some people don't like Black Gives Way to Blue, but everything has its own, little quirk to it. The 3 albums with Lane Staley and the 2 EPs that they did were just laced with a lot of depression, a lot of atmosphere, really, heavy riffs, but soft moments at the same time, really just riddled with emotion. And Black Gives Way to Blue, if you want to talk about emotion, don't tell me that you can listen to the song Black Gives Way to Blue, thinking about Lane Staley, hearing Elton John on piano, and not want to cry, because it's impossible. And if you can do that, you're an asshole. Fuck you. Let's go with, well, he has another question, Music Man Freak. What is your favorite, least favorite Burzum and Dark Throne albums? I said one question, so sorry, man. Gamark, Grumac. I can't read. What is your favorite Trivium album and why? And will I review their upcoming album? Well, you know that I don't like Shogun. You know I didn't really like their last album, In Waves. I really like Emerdo Inferno. I really like Dissension. I will definitely review their upcoming album because, like I said, part of the fun of this job is to find out whether or not a band is able to take steps in, you know, what I consider to be the right direction, I suppose, but isn't necessarily always truthfully the right direction. It's fun to watch bands evolve. It's fun to watch bands, you know, continue onward in their career. That's just one of the joys of this job. Let's continue on where we have Joseph Marchbanks with what are your top 5 doom, sludge, stoner metal bands? What are your thoughts on Evans Blue? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream or cats and dogs? I know I said only one question, but some of these I can address pretty quickly. Probably cats over dogs, mainly because I've had more interaction, and my girlfriend and I actually had 2 cats. However, we are unable to have them at the apartment right now, so my favorite flavor of ice cream is mint chocolate chip. Evans Blue was good until they lost their original lead singer. Their new singer sucks. Fuck him. He's a piece of shit. 5 doom, sludge, stoner metal bands. You know, you think about bands like High on Fire. Think about bands such as Weed Eater. You think about bands, I think a little bit of, even though it's drone based for the most part, you know, Boris has some stuff that's like that, you know. I think about getting stoned whenever I listen to Sun, but that's just because I think that experience is kind of almost spiritual in a way. It's just really weird. The same thing, it really holds true for Earth. The songs do sound like they last a little bit longer, but at the same time, I've had some really powerful revelations as far as, or, you know, really powerful moments of creativity whenever listening to this stuff while stoned. So, there you go. Snake and Magnum, roughly how many CDs, vinyls, cassettes do you own? Favorite Bolt Thrower album, least favorite Alice in Chains album. That's really weird. I know that's like the worst pair of titties, but still, wow. CDs, vinyls, cassettes, probably close to 2,000. It's getting there. It really is. The cassette and vinyl collection really has just gotten out of control over the past, you know, 12 to 24 months. CDs have always been there. I keep gaining more and more and more. And now that we're getting vinyl at my store, it's just going to get worse. I'm going to be broke all the time. Favorite Bolt Thrower album? Really don't have one. Least favorite Alice in Chains album? I really don't have one. But if I would say there's one I listen to probably the least, it's probably the Sap EP. Either that or the Tripod album. I love the Tripod album. I just don't listen to it nearly enough. The Sap EP is pretty... It's okay is basically my only feeling on it. I just don't think it was as powerful as Jar of Flies as far as their EPs are concerned. Let's do 2 more questions and then end part 3 on a strong note. The album, man, do you have a hi-fi? And if so, then what amp, speakers, etc. does it consist of? I think I answered this in one of my previous parts. I'm just using, you know, a pair of... you know, Sennheiser headphones. I'm using, you know, speakers that are within a computer for the most part, either that or in a stereo. You know, nothing really spectacular here. You know, we do have a record player at the apartment also. However, it's just a small little port that we got for I think 30 to 35 bucks. The sound on it is very, very good, but it's nothing special. And the thing of it is even though it's nothing special, it gets the job done. I mean, it has great sounds. In fact, before I started to record these videos, before I decided to come over here and do that, I was listening to Dire Straits' Money for Nothing on there, and it sounded better than my CD copy, so there you go. And now let's get the Fat Man Pez to bring us on home. Do you think that melodic death metal is becoming way too repetitive? I mean, look at every fucking mellow death cover of random songs that don't need the speed or shredding, where the doom covers, black metal covers, drone covers, etc. Also, listen to any psych folk, freak folk. I think I do. I just don't know really if it's classified as that. I don't know. So, I'm thinking I do, because I listen to a lot of random weird shit for no reason. And so I'm assuming I probably do. Melodic death metal has definitely gotten repetitive throughout the years, and this is one of my main criticisms for it, and that's the reason why I'm liking the fact that bands like Dark Tranquillity and Soilwork are kind of doing things to their sound that kind of keep it a little fresh, you know what I mean? Because whenever it first came out, it was this new and really, really, you know, awesome branch of metal. And for a long time, it kind of didn't have that much support. But then, you know, whenever bands such as In Flames and the like started to break through a little bit, then all of a sudden everybody wanted to jump on the bandwagon. It's almost like Melodeath was the thing to jump on almost directly after, like almost instantaneously after metalcore started to become big. And then it was something where everything got a little bit streamlined. And whenever everything became streamlined, then the bands that wanted to become big, they made it by having a streamlined sound that sounds very similar. You know, there's not a lot of distinction between those bands. So now I just, you know, whenever I hear of Melodeath, I'm instantly kind of turned off a little bit. I kind of don't want to check it out as badly as I would if it were, say, something else. So there you go. Great question to really bring us home. There you go. Part 3 in the books. We'll be back.